I'm really grateful for the opportunity to speak about this a little bit. Just so I know, is anyone in here not familiar with the basic history of the Holocaust? People are laughing, but you'd be surprised I get questions. Okay, good. So the Holocaust happened. The Holocaust happened less than 2 generations ago. My grandmother is a Holocaust survivor. My great-grandfather survived Auschwitz. This is a very, very recent event in the history of Jews, in the history of the world, that we think of as ancient history, and we say to ourselves that these sorts of things aren't gonna, we'd never allow that to occur, we'd never allow that to be a thing again. It has happened since. Darfur being an incredibly recent and sort of obvious example of genocide. 13 million people were killed in the Holocaust, over half the Jewish population of the world. We have not yet gotten back to the population size that we were before that event as a culture. So this is something that we take very, very seriously, and seeing what's happening in our country right now has me terrified. As a Jewish man who's grown up with a relatively privileged life, I've never been scared for my body before. And I'm scared for my body now, and I'm scared for the bodies of a lot of people, because the trends in white nationalism, the trends in overt racism, it's this people's fault, and it's this people's fault, and it's this people's fault that's happening, is very, very eerily similar. So, has anybody seen this before? Yeah. In Germany, in the late 30s, before before World War II and the Holocaust began, Jews were required to wear this patch on their clothing that showed that they were a Jew, which sounds an awful lot like a registry or everybody has to sign up here kind of thing. That sort of culture is what leads to the normalization of hate, the normalization of blame, the normalization of, what the problem is, we need to just wipe these people off the face of the earth, and if we do that, we'll be good. And I've had a lot of conversations with members of the community, members of the Jewish community, members of the Greater Portland community about this in the last few years, and people say, let's not be extremist about this. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. And as Arminio and Tom mentioned, these people are Nazis, right? It's the same people coming back at us again. So I want to talk a little bit about the fact that we managed to sort of survive, and that people survived, and that my grandmother survived. We go to the next one. So safe houses were one of the biggest things that got Jews through the Holocaust. We have no way of knowing how many people were in safe houses at some point in their life. Who's read Anne Frank's diary? It's a lot of high schools read it, yeah. That's by far the best account we have of that in a sort of public, everybody knows it, it's up there with Shakespeare and Kanye kind of sense. That was a terrible joke, I'm so sorry. But anyway, so a huge percentage of Jews in the countries that were most affected by the Holocaust, specifically Germany, Poland, Ukraine, a percentage of the survivors, the vast majority, survived because someone took them in. Again, the actual statistical tracking is almost impossible, but we're talking probably 50 to 70% of the relatively small number of Jews who survived because people hid them. People hid them in attics, people hid them in basements, people hid them in storm cellars, the back of trucks, all sorts of things like that, sometimes for years at a time without being able to leave. Those networks weren't organized. There was no oh, hey everyone, we're gonna have a meeting and we're gonna plan out a bunch of safe houses and we're gonna figure out what that looks like. So where they happened, they were just people who made a choice to, I have space, I have a room, I have whatever, and I'm gonna hide these people, my neighbors, my friends, my distant relative, I'm gonna hide them there. So what we're doing now, we're ahead of the curve. It's a huge opportunity for us to put in place a system that could, if we need it, and I hope to God we don't, that if we need it, could save people's lives, and sort of regardless of the potential for something like the Holocaust happening again, and I don't think we're there yet, it's just scary. People getting deported, families getting torn apart, people being chased down the street, people being persecuted because of their orientation, their race, their creed, their belief system. Having a safe place for people to go, with people who they know are safe, with people that they know will take care of them, with people who understand what's happening and are prepared to stand up for them, is a hugely powerful, it's a hugely compelling community tool, it's a hugely compelling opportunity for us to stop this before it gets worse than it could be. Can we go one more? The other thing that I want to point to, just because Teresa asked me to touch on this, is faith organizations did a huge amount during the Holocaust. And for those of us who are tied into faith communities, there's a huge opportunity there as well. The Catholic Church saved something like 860,000 Jews by hiding them in church basements. As an organized effort, the Catholic priests in Germany and Poland got together under the radar and was like, this is a thing that we're going to do. So don't discount the potential for those communities to have an impact. Not everyone is tied into Portland. Portland's a pretty atheistic place as a general rule, but those communities are out there. Those communities tend to be huge. They tend to have lots of connections, they tend to have networks. Activate them, talk to people. If you have a desire to do that in your own, please come talk to me. I have some strategies for how to get going with that kind of thing. But that's a great resource for communities out there. Other things that people did, and what does that look like? Providing documents. We have Jews and they're trying to prove that they're trying to hide from the Nazis, and someone's saying, well, prove that you're not Jewish. And so families would say, oh yeah, this is my nephew, and here's his birth certificate. Oh yeah, here's all of us, and here are the photos of our family's whatever, and our family's this, and look at that. Obviously with the internet that changes a ton, the ability to do that, but thinking about, are there ways to welcome people into your community, into your circle, into your family that can keep them safe in that way, that can give them a safety net, that can give them that kind of protection. And advocacy on an institutional level can be a hugely powerful thing from faith organizations as well. The Catholic Church was the fourth largest private institution in the world, fourth wealthiest, something like that. Faith organizations can sometimes have an incredible amount of pull around community politics, around community resources, around economics. Imagine if everyone in a church said, we're going to refuse to buy from the coffee shop across the street because they have a swastika in their window. We're talking about hundreds, sometimes thousands of people. So just think about those networks. Are they available to you? How can you activate them? And just as a quick plug for something that we've just started in the last couple of days, we have a new group out there that Teresa's helping us sort of get a handle on what we're actually doing. But James Green is sitting over there. He and I have started a group called Never Again PDX. As Jews, we have a thing that we say never forget, never again. Le'olam Moshav, Le'olam La'od. Basically means that we as Jews still bear the scars of the world failing us 75, 80 years ago. And we feel that we have a responsibility as a community to ensure that never happens again. And so we've started this group. We're starting to activate the sort of Jewish youth of Portland and the community at large, to be a buffer, to be a resource, to be a community that will stand up for people who are feeling marginalized, who are feeling neglected, who are feeling disenfranchised, who are feeling in danger. That same kind of thing. You need somebody to come walk your kid to school, we'll do it. You need, your mosque is being threatened by people, we'll stand in the line outside. We have to draw a line in the sand about this kind of stuff, and then we have to take a step in front of it and say, you can't come through here. So that's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to be about. So if you like us on Facebook, that'd be rad.
It's just on your Facebook page now, and
there's literally,
like it.
Yeah, there's nothing. We literally just turned the Facebook page on at 5:30.
You can't like anything.
You can't like anything yet? Okay, well, by the end of the meeting, by the end of the meeting, you will be able to like us on Facebook, so please do that. And yeah, thank you all again for being here. It means a lot, so thank you.